Krishna, remembrance by comparing nature of material and spiritual world, both side by side. We discussed that. I hope 2 days vacation, everybody got refreshed. 14 and 15, we talked about pure bhakti, and 16 to 22, we talk about the nature of material world or material nature and spiritual world. Then 23 to 28, some devotee asked, I forgot what was his name, I think Gautam Prabhu or someone, asked even how the smoke, the smoke is a route, like sesame or job, when you put in the fire sacrifice, the smoke comes out. Those souls are going to go to heaven or this way, they actually travel with the smoke. It is not a regular smoke, turns into cloud. The sesame smoke or the fire sacrifice smoke, they actually take the soul, subtle body. So we discussed that. Also, we discussed the remembrance by Bhakti Yoga is easier than Ashtanga Yoga. Then Arjuna's mind was curious, what is this Bhakti Yoga? So, which began today, text, chapter 9. Everybody understood that? So here focus is on remembrance of Krishna. In chapter 8, we discuss remembrance of Krishna, but different methods are discussed. A method could be Bhakti Yoga, which was introduced by Krishna in 7th chapter, if you remember, in systematic way. Earlier there were pointers towards Bhakti Yoga, like 2.61. I'm sure you all read, Tani Sarvani Sangjamma, but not directly. But in 7.7, Matta Paratar Nanat, I remember that verse was very elaborately we discussed. And then 3.30, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that this is the summary. Brihadnath Prabhu, either you unmute or I have to unmute you. It's mute. I mean, sorry, mute. Okay, there was some noise coming. So 3:30, those who are want to be scored, like, can you say like a few sloko Prabhu that we have to have memory? 3.30 is the summary of Bhagavad-Gita Prabhupada said in the purport. So you must remember that. Mai sarvani karmani sannasa datma chetosa. 3.30. I did not touch that. Other devotee did, I'm sure. 4.10, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha. We discuss about that. We have 3 attachment. Then 5.29, Bhaktaram Jagatavasam. 6.30 is Jomam Pashyati Sarvatra. Very advanced devotee. Then 6.47, Joginamopi Sarvesam. That was also very nice. And then we started on 7.1, where we emphasize that you have to develop, you have to shift your attachment. The soul has an eternal attachment. Whatever attachment you have, you don't need new attachment. You just need to shift your attachment to Krishna from non-Krishna. Then Krishna will reveal. Now you may say, okay, that will be that easy. Well, today we're going to hit the point, actually key point, when you can actually remember Krishna. Today is the first sloka Krishna will reveal. But I'm just refreshing what we covered so far. Then 8th chapter also introduced some additional terms, but they're not elaborated. Then it focuses on the theme of remembering Krishna at the time of death, which we did 2 days. Then also we explore and compare the 2 paths which were given in 6th and 7th chapter. The 6th chapter given the path of Ashtanga Yoga, 7th chapter given the path of Bhakti Yoga. So the 8th chapter actually contrasts these 2 chapters and explained how Bhakti Yoga is easier way to fix mind on Krishna. both at the time of death as well as your day-to-day life now, wherever you are, whatever you are involved. So this way we ended chapter 8. Today we are beginning chapter 9. I'm going to give you a little overview before I begin. Please write it down 1, 2, 3 or memorize 1, 2, 3, text 1, 2, 3, just 3. We are going to focus on developing pure bhakti, Kevala bhakti. How? By knowledge about Krishna. The glory, knowledge about Krishna will lead to pure devotional service. Then, hopefully today we'll try to finish 4 to 10, 6 verses. No, 7, 4, 6, yeah, 7 verses. Krishna's inconceivable relationship with the material world. So when we read those sloka, you are focused on one thing. 1, 2, 3 sloka today, 9th chapter, because 9th chapter is just me, I find, in entire Bhagavad-Gita. Bhagavad-Gita is composed of 17 chapter, not 18. 17 chapter, according to Prabhupada. And most important of 17 chapter is the middle, 7 to 12 chapter. And 7 to 12, there is a 2 chapter are the most important, 9 and 10. Out of that, 9 is the best. Yes, 9 is the best. And there is why, there is a reason you're going to find out at the end of the 9th chapter. So, entire Bhagavad Gita is 17 chapter. 18th chapter is not really Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita already finished. It's a summary of entire 17 chapter. So don't compare 18th chapter with 9th chapter today. Because whatever you will find 9th chapter, it will be repeated in 18th chapter. 18th chapter is the summary of entire 17th chapter. Everybody is with me? Okay. That's how Prabhupada saw it, and we should follow him because he sees Bhagavad Gita. He is the one who actually made Bhagavad Gita in the heart of majority people in the history of world. Nobody preached Bhagavad Gita like that. Can you believe just this Christmas, last Christmas, we distributed 4 million Bhagavad Gita. 4 millions. Even in our temple, I personally went also in Walmart, Walmart parking lot. Every day we distributed Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita. I mean, how many millions of people has Bhagavad Gita right now? So Prabhupada is eternally, we are grateful to him, and also he is eternally famous to Lord Krishna because he actually gave that access to the world to approach God easily. So again, I'm going to refresh 1, 2, 3. We're going to discuss about pure bhakti today by knowledge about Krishna. The glory, knowledge about Krishna that will lead to devotional service. The second section will be text 4 to 10. 4 to 10 will be Krishna's achinta or inconceivable relationship with the material world. Not pure bhakti, but it is relevant to that because we are in the world. If you remember, we mentioned, or I mentioned last week maybe, or a week before, we have to love Krishna wherever we are. Don't jump over the fence of the world and you'll go to spiritual world by jumping over. No, you have to worship Krishna in the world, wherever you are, in your house, in your body. You have to meditate on him. You have to make your life center point of Krishna, and through the world and with the world. So this will help us a lot, 4 to 10. Then 11 to 19, which will hopefully we'll do it tomorrow. Not tomorrow, tomorrow is off Sunday, Monday, will start 11 to 19. I don't have to tell you details, breakdown, but I could just to refresh so you can prepare. Those who understand Krishna, who are the people understand Krishna? So it's not only us, a different category of different type of worshipper. Even impersonalist, Krishna considered as a worshipper. So we have to respect Krishna's liberal mind, I would say, liberal. He actually, because at the core of their heart, everybody is a devotee. So Krishna is very nice. So that goes from text 11 to 19. The category of different, various way of understanding Krishna by different people. So we'll discuss that. And then 20 to 28, it will prove that pure bhakti, Kevala bhakti, is far superior than demigod worship. This is very important because, believe it or not, all over the world people are worshipping demigod. One American devotee, like Caucasian American devotee, asked me that, but we're not into demigod. I say, yeah, you are. You are mentioning one time about Marilyn Monroe. She was a famous, I don't know if you, I'm sure some of you probably heard. Marilyn Monroe was a famous actress here in America. Anyway, I said, you are talking about her, glorifying about her. I said, that is demigod worship. Means you glorify a great persons. Just like a lot of people glorify Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton's. Demigod, these are all category of different kind of demigods. Demigods are not only Indra, Varun, that Vedic that way. That those who are actually high powerful, they are all into that category. People admire Michael Jackson. How many thousands of young children in America, they just literally is like ideal icon, Michael Jackson, at least to many millions. So these are also category of demigods. So we'll see from 20 to 28 in this chapter in 2 days probably, maybe Tuesday, I'm not sure. And then this way we'll go on, and then we'll come to 29 to 34, the most confidential of pure Kevala Bhakti. Hopefully that will be the last day. So without delay, we are going to start today. Now, anybody has a suggestion? How do we decide who is going to recite the verse? I can always recite, and I did recite this morning, or you would be voluntarily like choosing, or I don't have access. How do you figure it out? Anyone has a suggestion how somebody is selected?
You can select, Prabhuji. You can select randomly.
But I just don't know how to select. I hope if I don't call someone, if you feel bad, I feel really bad.
You can have the list of the people, students in alphabetical order on a sheet of paper. And every time you just go down in the alphabetical order, so you won't miss out anyone. Can you write it down, all the names?
Maybe Mother Archana Bhakti Devi Dasi, can you help me today? And then from Monday, I'll do it. I have one student here, he's going to write down the name, and then from Monday, I'll do it. But today, you help me.
If you hit that participants in your Zoom, you can see all the people, Prabhu.
But it changes. I see that it flips, like.
You click on the participants, Prabhuji, the names will come.
It's alphabetical, Prabhu. So
comes in alphabetical order.
But how come I see sometimes it's changing?
Because somebody goes away from the conference, that's why his name drops down.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start from the bottom with V. Bhamanadev. No, Bhamanadev. Yes, Bhamanadev Prabhu. Please prepare to read. Now his name is disappeared. Yeah, his name disappeared. What happened?
Prabhuji, it reshuffles based on who is switched on the speaker, that goes up, and then again it reshuffles.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yes, Prabhuji. That's why you're not always seeing in alphabetical order. If everybody's on mute, then it will be in alphabetical order.
Okay. I mean, I almost give 2-3 classes Zoom every day, but they do the everything. I don't do anything, so I am not familiar. Thank you. So after Bhamanadev, Mother Semala Gopika, and then Swarupini Radhika. Okay, Bhamanadev Prabhu, text 1, please recite. Oh, before that, I'm sorry. Please fold your hand, everyone, and please invoke the mercy of Guru Parampara, and especially to Vasudev Bhagavan, Sri Krishna's special avatar in our life. Bhamandev Prabhu, can you explain why we pray to Vasudev Bhagavan? Bhamanadev Prabhu, can you tell me why we pray to Vasudev, not Krishna?
Krishna is Vasudev.
That is true. But every name has a particular feature.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see Nishingadev dancing with Radharani, do you?
No.
So Nishingadev is also Krishna, but different feature.
Vasudev is Krishna without Goloka Vrindavan. It is the feature which is accessible to us.
Very good. Also, he is the predominating deity of Jnana Shakti. In 4th chapter Adilila, it says, Ichha Shakti Pradhan Krishna Ichhai Sarvagata, Jnana Shakti Pradhan Nama Vasudev Adhishtata. Vasudev means a consciousness. We can approach Krishna through our consciousness, through our thinking. Consciousness means thinking, aware, and feeling. Without this, we have no access to Krishna. And that consciousness can be purified by the mercy of Vasudev. So we'll pray with like this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Nasta prayesu abhadresu nitam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki mukhaṁ karati vachalam pangulangayate girim jatigripadamaham bande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Paramananda Madhavam Om Jnanati Mirandasya Gyenanjana Salakaya Chakshurum Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Sapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Shapadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanikamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunnavadi Paschatadeshatarine Panchakalpa Tarubhesta Kripa Sindhupa Evacha Patitanam Pavanebho Vaishnavebho Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaurabhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Thank you everyone. Vamandev Prabhu, please go ahead with the text one.
Text one. Arjuna Uvacha Kim Tad Brahma Kim Adhyatma Kim Karma Purushottama Adibhutam Cha Kim Proktam Adidaivam Kim Uchate.
No.
Oh. No. He's reading some.
Chapter 9.
Oh,
9-1.
let's start chapter 8.
Chapter 8 we finished. I just gave a little brief preview what we have covered so far and why we are on chapter 9.
Yes, I'm ready. Text 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshami anashuryave yanatmam vigyana sahitam jai yatva mokshyase shubhat. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence.
Once again. You just read it, Prabhu. So there is a key point. We can all reflect this verse. This is very important. Every verse is important on 9th chapter. Something we need to examine our heart to check one thing prominent. And then Krishna will reveal to us. Otherwise, we'll miss it. You can be with the devotees for decades. You may not remember Krishna much. Something you have to examine and you have to voluntarily give up. I cannot help. So this is very important. Who can say what was we just read in the translation? What is the key point here?
Envy.
Envy. Very good.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Then you read the half of the purport and then Mother Syamala Gopika Devi.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. The devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and gives him the intelligence to understand the science of Krishna in the association of devotees. Discussion of Krishna is very potent, and if a fortunate person has such association and tries to assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation in his potent service, describes in this 9th chapter matters more confidential than any he has already disclosed. Shall I continue?
That's good. Mother Shyamala Gopika Devi Dasi, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Sandhavati.
The very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, is more or less an introduction to the rest of the book. And in the second and third chapters, the spiritual knowledge described is called confidential. Topics discussed in the 7th and 8th chapters are specifically related to devotional service. And because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness, they are called more confidential. But the matters which are described in the 9th chapter deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Therefore, this is called the most confidential. One who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. He therefore has no material pangs, although he is in the material world. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that although one who has a sincere desire to render loving service to the Supreme Lord is situated in the conditional state of material existence, he is to be considered liberated. Similarly, we shall find in the Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter that anyone who is engaged in that way is a liberated person. Now, this first verse has a specific significance. The word idam jnanam, this knowledge, refer to pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. By the practice of these 9 elements of devotional service, one is elevated to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When one's heart is thus cleared of material contamination, one can understand this science of Krishna. Simply to understand that a living entity is not material is not sufficient. That may be beginning of spiritual realization, but one should recognize the difference between the activities of the body and the spiritual activities of one who understands that he is not the body. In the 7th chapter, we have already discussed the opulent potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, its different energies, the inferior and the superior natures, and all this material manifestation. Now in chapter 9, the glories of the Lord will be delineated. The Sanskrit word anasuyave in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are all envious of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad Gita very inaccurately because they are envious of Krishna. Their commentaries are useless. The commentaries given by devotees of the Lord are bona fide. No one can explain Bhagavad Gita or give perfect knowledge of Krishna if he is envious. One who criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him is a fool. So such a commentary should be very carefully avoided. For one who understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pure and transcendental personality, these chapters will be very beneficial. Thank you.
Very good. Can you tell us what did you take out of this paragraph, few paragraphs that you read, Mother?
We should understand Bhagavad Gita only from the devotee of the Lord, and we should not take from any scholars, whoever scholarly persons, and if they are envious of Krishna, so certainly we should not hear from them.
Good. But how do you know if you are envious or I am envious or some of the Prabhus or Matas, they are not envious? How do we know? Just because we have a tilakam, neck beads, is that enough or?
No, the way that they present the essence of Bhagavad Gita, especially Prabhupada already said that the commentators who are envious of Krishna, so they will say that when Krishna says surrender unto me, so they say that oh, Krishna is saying to the person who is inside Krishna, he is asking to surrender and not to Krishna. So they don't accept Krishna as a Supreme Lord.
Hold on, you just said something very interesting. So what was the mistake of saying that Krishna in the surrender to that person in the body of Krishna? Where are they coming up with this? Where maybe we can, if we pay attention, we will not do the same thing. Not exactly same word, but something else maybe we are doing.
Actually, for us, we have to surrender to the super soul who is inside within our heart. But for Krishna, there is no difference between his body and the soul.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, that was nice. So I want everybody to remember a few things. First of all, I want to ask a question. Anyone knows what is the definition of NB? What is NB means? Why Krishna, such a bold statement Krishna made, that he will not reveal anyone who is envious. He's revealing this to Arjuna because he's not envious. What is envious means? What is envy means?
Why Krishna has why I don't have it? Something, why Krishna is controlling everyone and not me? Because everybody wants to control her. And why Krishna has this much appliances, why not me? So that's why that's envy.
And why he gets to enjoy, not me.
Anyone else? This is good, good, good. Something else? Can somebody explain me? Prabhupada said something interesting in the purport of Bhagavatam. He said, people are envious to the cows. I thought about it so deeply. Actually, he repeated again another lecture. He said, people are envious. In the Western country, they slaughter cows. They're envious to the cow. I'm thinking, do I want to eat the grass, or what am I envy in that definition? But actually, it is Prabhupada is 100% right. I want you all to think, why did Prabhupada say it is envious? So you remember this. Keep a little note or memorize. Two types of envy. We call black envy or white envy, but there is no real definition. But two types of envy, what do we find from Prabhupada's purport? One is I call, or I learned from this also from Adi Purusha Prabhu, he calls it black and white. I said, okay, I like that. I'll use that. One is black envy, one is white envy. What is white envy? White envy, what Koiballa Prabhu and Jagannath Prabhu, they mentioned, very easy. Prabhupada says, you can read in the Veda base, his discussion about Siddha Swarup Prabhu of Hawaii. Prabhupada, you know the, what's her name? The ran for president? Tulsi. Tulsi Gabbard, you heard the Tulsi Gabbard? The mother Tulsi Gabbard? Yes. Her guru is Prabhupada's disciple, Siddha Swarup Prabhu. She's a ISKCON devotee, but they had some issues. Tamal Krishna Maharaj complained, and her guru Siddha Swarup Prabhu. And Prabhupada had a wonderful dialogue. He is the one who asked Prabhupada, what is the definition of envy? So I'm going to repeat or paraphrase. Prabhupada says, when someone has something, you do not want to allow that person have that in their position in your mind. That is envy. I'm going to say it again. When someone possesses something, or I would say rightful ownership, like my father left money for me, $1 million when he passed away. Someone says, why? I work hard. He does not even work that much, and he got $1 million, and I cannot even get $100,000. Are Baba, did you give the money? No. Who arranged this? Krishna's arrangement, that through my father I got it, but he cannot tolerate this. He is like a complaining, he's disturbed, that is called white envy, common known all over the world. So I'm going to paraphrase one more time. That when someone has a rightful possession of something, but in my mind, I cannot allow that person to have that. What is the black envy? Black envy is that everybody has a right to live. Cow has a right to live. But in my mind, I think, no, I will eat you. You have no right to live. Some devotees are advancing, going above me. I cannot tolerate this. It's the same envy within me. Amongst us, somebody singing better than me. I don't like that. I'm supposed to be the #1 singer in the temple. Why this Mataji or Prabhu just came from somewhere visiting, now taking my audience attracted to him? The real knowledge of pure bhakti will not be revealed. Krishna will check. So please examine your heart. I'm not saying you are envious or anything. I do. And I check this lot. That's why I'm bold enough to say it. What scared me was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhakta Loka. When he says, very interesting, he says, prema is the only prescription you need to have with you. And envy is the only prohibition you have to have with you. If you have a envy, no entrance in spiritual domain, period. I got scared. That's why I always check my heart. Whatever reason, if some devotee even possesses something better than me, am I envious? And if I feel little bit, I actually go to that person and glorify that person to possess that. Then it disappears mystically. But it's not easy. Because I centered since time immemorial in material world. I am the center. In case if you didn't know all the Zoom attendance, I'm the king of the Alachua. No, I'm not. But that's how the soul thinks. I am the object of enjoyment by everybody. Everybody are the object enjoyed by me. So remember this Bhakti Bharat Thakur in Bhakta Loka, he says, you need love of God, love, prema, compulsory to enter into spiritual domain. And you want only prohibition, all anarthas, all culminates to one, envy. Envy is the only thing, he says, you have to give up. Even if you have a sinful nature or lust or this, that will be overlooked, but envy will not be overlooked because that's not natural. Anybody knows the Sanskrit word of envy means? In Bhagavatam it says?
Matsarata, Matsarya.
Yes. You know Matsa means, what is Matsa? Do you know what is Matsa? Come on, there's no Bengali here. Bengal for an American ice cream.
Fish.
Yes, fish. Very good. Because Bengalis, they feel fish is like ice cream to the Americans. They cannot live without eating a fish. So, why Sanskrit word Matsarja, Matsarata? Why Matsa? Do you know why Matsa? I did some investigation. I actually called my friend. He's a director of medicine in the UF here. I said, I need to talk to somebody in aqua world, where the sea world, they have a big research center here. So this wonderful Mr. James Hall, he explained me that in the aqua world or the sea world, the nature of every fish do not allow other fish to grow. That's why the big fish is always eating the small fish. Not that they cannot find, there is a some other food could be available, but they always feel like, oh, that fish going to be bigger than me, let's eat it up. They literally, all the big fish eat small fish. Does it sound familiar in your temple or in your association? If somebody is more advanced, you don't feel comfortable. I hope not. Maybe you all are Matsarata less. You gone out, no, non-envious. But I can relate because I was that envious person and I see that and I'm scared of it. So I put a little shield. Means if you see some Mataji or some Prabhu is getting more advanced, remember more sharp, maybe makes better notes than me, you don't feel comfortable, that is envy, fishiness. In English it's called fishiness, fishiness. It's the same thing, Matsarata, Matsarja in Sanskrit. So we have to give up. Envious has two aspects. Envy causes us, always makes us depend things we have no control. Practically, I have seen this in my life. The envy causes me, always makes me depend things we have no control. And you know, deep down in the heart, what we think when we are envy, I should not say we, what I would think, two things. I have to be best successor of all. And number two, I must stop others to be successful like me. These are the two functions of the envious people. Dhirubhai Ambani, there was one Indian businessman. I saw his interview one time. I was very long time back. I was very surprised that he is such an intelligent man, even though he was the outsider, not Hare Krishna devotee in my known, but I'm sure he's a devotee in some concept. He said something similar to this. He says in the business world, he was very successful in India, businessman. He says in the business world, they sometimes 50% of their energy goes just to put the other person down by promoting us. And he said, this is a one thing I always try to avoid, but some or other, my employee or my immediate man, they will come up with the plan. And later on, I find this plan is nothing but to put other factory down with a new price strategy or new manufacturing something with it. So this is the same thing. I'm sure I heard he passed away, and I'm sure he will probably take birth in a Hare Krishna movement because he has some kind of a kindness. So the envious has a two function. Again, I'm going to say, they always try to be the best successor, whether in the temple or in the business world or wherever they are. They want to be the best. And number two is they always must stop others to be successful like him or her. So these are the two functions. Also, you must remember the Bhakta Loka, how Bhaktivinoda Thakur says two things. You need prem to go in. You need to get out of envy completely to get in. One is required, compulsory. One is must give up. Now in 9.11.23, you can see it later in Bhagavatam, 9.11.23. It's Prabhupada gave a very nice. He says anyone who orally received the narrations concerning the characteristics of Lord Ramachandra's pastimes will ultimately be free from the disease of envy. So you can read Lord Ramachandra's pastimes and be free from envy. That sounds like a very easy way to get out also. And in our literature, you know how many places you will find I found some example this morning, like Omoga with Lord Chaitanya. There was absolutely no reason Omoga would be envy to Lord Chaitanya is eating too much. The whole chapter made focus on that. And Mahaprabhu, when he finally spoke to Omoga, what did he say? He said, you are a Brahman, your heart's supposed to be free of envy. He didn't say lust, greed, anger, madness. He said envy. Mahaprabhu used that word, only one word, envy. So envy is actually deadly killer for our Vaishnava, for our progress in spiritual path. Duryodhana's only one quality against Pandava made the whole Mahabharata. It's envy. Duryodhana was envious. Daksha. Do you know Daksha actually literally met the Lord face to face? He even got benediction from the Lord. But why he could not taste Sattvik Bhav? Because his envy to Lord Shiva, and then later on again envy to Narada. This is such a deadly disease. The number one disease deadly in the heart is the envy. Kamsa, what was his problem? Was the envious. Suruchi to Dhruva, envious. Shishupal to Krishna, envious. And you can go on in the list. Okay, we'll start to the next text. Just to give you a little glimpse that how dangerous the envy is. That sooner we are free completely on envy means you will see the presence of the Lord in your heart. You will see it, not just theoretically, but you will see the presence, how he is actually guiding from within. And Lord says this on this text 1, because he could have said lust, greed, so many things, but he put that only word, Anusuyebe. You know, Bhagavatam, this is a very famous verse. I just thought about it. Bhagavatam, 2nd verse, the glorification of Bhagavatam. And it says the Bhagavatam is revealed in the heart of who? Nirmat Saranam Satam. Nirmat Saranam. It could have says lust, greed, madness, illusion, nothing. It says Nirmat Saranam. One word. Those who are non-envious, they can relish Bhagavatam. So this is most important. Most important. More than lust, greed, any other. It is the most deadly disease. Okay, I think we had enough of that. Hopefully everybody is out of envy.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I had a question.
Yes, Mother.
So Prabhuji, so for not to be envy, so does that help that once a person knows their position, like that they are servants of the servant and this is the position they deserve. So when they realize their position, then it becomes easy for the person to be not to be envious of others, because now he knows that this is what he was capable for or assigned.
Facebook message and all this, how many millions of people getting prasadam in Poland. Poland is a country that they know, everybody knows Hare Krishna, because we do such a huge festival and Maharaj doing this for last 20 years. But yet, some people criticize. So the conclusion is that you can never stop enviousness. I'm not talking about outsider. I'm talking about some devotee or apparently looks like devotee. Now, if you are depressed, you will stop it. So you know what? I won't do it anymore. It's just too much. No, Maharaj doesn't stop. He kept on going. And millions of people in that East Europe get prasadam because of his preaching dedication. Such a dedication, I wonder sometime, how possible. They must have come from spiritual world. Regular human being cannot be dedicated like that.
Prabhuji, one last question.
Yes.
So when we all have envy and we are in this material world, so do we all have the same common point of enviousness, or it is different? If it is different, like where does that come from, and how does one realize what he is envious of?
Oh, Krishna, you are such a thoughtful. You really squeeze out of your heart all the envy once for all. You want to just throw away, burn to ashes, not throw away only, because it can come back. You want to burn it to ashes.
Yes, Prabhuji, it comes back.
I remember one of the famous verse that Lord revealed to the devotees who are struggling when Hiranyakashipu was terrorizing. And he said, these are the symptom of envious. And he gave, I remember the verse, so let's count it. He said, Jatha Deveshu, Vedeshu, Goshu, Vipreshu, Sadhusu, Dharme Maicha Viddesha, So Asu Vinashati. This type of the envious people will be destroyed. They will not get Krishna consciousness. They may act like they are amongst us, that's not possible. Who are those? Deveshu. Deveshu means they are envious to the demigod or anybody is powerful. Anybody with power or position or anything, they're envious. You'll see. Sometimes it was within my heart, so I can relate, I can recall, yes. Because when I was a teenager, I had a position in Mayapur. I was the first general manager. I was only teenager, so I liked it. And then later on, when I was like, wow, the jealousy is there. Jealousy was there. It's a deadly, very dangerous. So yes, we pray for it to let it go, because connection with Krishna gives the highest pleasure. And more you want to go towards Krishna. Forget all this. You don't want any of these material things. These are like a big, big obstacle. So you pray to remove. So first thing is anybody has a position. Devesha here, not only demigod, means anybody with the power. Second, Vedeshu. Do you respect the Vedas, the knowledge that reveals? Or you like only one person who is speaking, the other person you don't like what he or she is speaking? That is not respecting. Respect means respect all. Anybody speak the Krishna conscious philosophy, you must respect all. Prabhupada is such a wonderful example when some big group came, I think from Swami Narayan, a group in Bombay, and they asked Prabhupada that meat eating is condemned. It's never, no Shastra says. Prabhupada said, do not say like this. You haven't read all the Shastra. What Shastra I read? Yes, in the Veda is recommended. But you have a consequence. You eat meat this life, next life you become the goat and the goat will eat you. Mam Shah. Prabhupada said, don't ignore, because Veda recommended, we must respect the Veda. Who did not recommend Veda? Who? Do you know who did not respect the Veda? It's Buddhists. They are called atheists. Because they rejected Veda, they are called atheists. So we have to respect all the Vedas, but we have to discriminate what is needed for bhakti. But we cannot disrespect Veda or not accept. Then we will become atheist. Then third is Goshu. Goshu means the cows generally, or the animals in general. Then Vipreshu. Vipreshu means those Brahmanas, Vedo Pathat Bhavet Vipra. Vipra here is not just initiation. Dija, Vipra, Brahmana, there is a gradation. Janmana Jayate Sudra, Sanskar Bhavet Dija, and then Vedo Pathat Bhavet Vipra. Vipra means those who are studying philosophy, just like this Zoom, all these people are here. If somebody don't like any one of you, he is actually envy. You are showing interest to study, to learn Bhagavad-Gita. If somebody don't like you, knowing that you are studying, that person is envious, obviously. Of course, please don't hurt him or her who is envious to you, but at least you can pray. That's all. But it's good to know. Then the fifth is sadhusu, those who are saint Vaishnavas, in general, all the devotees. If you don't like any devotee, just because that devotee don't care me, I don't care him or her, that is not good either. Little envious is there. Then dharme moi, those who are practicing religious principles, we must respect, whether it's a Christian, Buddhist, Jains, whatever. Because even Buddhist atheist actually is a trickery. Buddha says, okay, you don't believe, you don't accept the Veda because Veda recommend killing the animals. Okay, then we don't accept the Vedas. But what he did, he diverted those people towards him. So that's a compassion. We respect them. We must understand. Even Shankaracharya, he's a Lord Shiva. We respect Shankaracharya because he's needed a particular time. The envious people was holding the Veda. Good thing that in ISKCON we have a checking system. Otherwise, envious people could be the leader. Then it would ruin the society. But we have a good checking system. I hope you all know, because I do know. I mean, Sannyas College, we see that there is a check system. How even a ISKCON guru, how they're handling. You know, individual guru cannot have a check system. You go to the other motts, who is the Acharya, and who is going to check whether he's doing everything proper or not? ISKCON is the only society, first time in the history, that actually there is a ministry checks the gurus, whether they're behaving properly, their lecture is proper. Wow. I won't say the name, but one actually sannyasi called me because I was traveling with him for 1 month. He said, did I say anything wrong? I got a letter from our ministry. Did I do anything? And I was like, I said, Maharaj, it makes me happy that somebody is at least checking you, but I hope you don't take. He said, no, but I just want to make sure I'm okay because I don't want to do anything. This is a wonderful. Who understand the essence of ISKCON, they will respect ISKCON all the time. This is the only organization, because if you have a guru by himself in a one temple, who is going to check whether his every action is good? Is proper Vaishnava, is proper devotional? Who is going to check? Nobody, because he is the head. But we have a huge society and it will grow because we have a check and balance system. This is like unbelievable. This is wonderful the way Prabhupada made it. And that's why ISKCON will going to grow like anything. And as Prabhupada said, 10,000 years, yes. But I also have to give you a little warning. Be careful. Don't neglect this life. That, well, 10,000 years, even if I come, so what's wrong? Well, you may not come back. You may go to heaven because you did so much pious activity, chanting and other. You may go to heaven. According to Jayapataka Maharaj, he scared me. He said, in heaven, you have a minimum lifespan is 10,000 years. And guess what? When you come back after 10,000 years, Hare Krishna, I don't want to even see that. So try to finish your journey this life. Make it as serious and take it and don't play that game. I hope it doesn't happen to anybody. But he gave a very heavy speech because he said this can happen. Prabhupada did say that they will go to heaven. But that's not our goal. So, I mean, you are not lost. Even you did some bhakti, it will stay eternally. But still, when you come back after 10,000 years, you think struggle now? You will know what is struggle that time. We are a golden age right now.
Thank you,
So that
Prabhuji.
was number 5. Number 6 was dharma mai. Anybody follow the religious principle. And number 7 is mai. Mai means the Lord is speaking to all those devotees. Because you remember, Hiranyakashipu's time, there's 2 types of people in this creation. Either you are follower of Hiranyakashipu or you're follower of Vishnu. No demigod worshipper, nobody else. Because everybody is under Hiranyakashipu. So that was a good thing. But because Lord delivered all of them one shot. But the Vaishnavas, they will not surrender to anybody. They surrender only to Krishna. So Krishna revealed that. And those who are envy to me. These 7 people. So we can check our own heart whether we, and I can tell you where it is. This is a 7.4.27. You can memorize that or put it in a little frame in your bedroom before you go to sleep and say, okay, did I have any envy to all these 7? Maybe you can pray to the Lord. I'm sorry, I was not happy to see that person or this, that, something like that. If you check a little bit for a month, you'll get out of it.
Prabhuji, I have one question. There is competitiveness in all of us to a certain extent. I mean, I'm not saying that competition with another person, even within ourselves. Like we try to, like for bhakti, I'm saying, we have achieved this much, we have studied this much, we have learned this much, we want to achieve more. So we are competing, at least I'm talking about myself. I'm trying to compete with myself, saying that I can do more. I want to do more, so I can be more aggressive towards this. But in this process, what I have observed, that sometimes I feel that maybe some people might be feeling that like that I'm trying to control. It's not that I'm trying to control or anything. I'm trying to exceed whatever I have done. So what happens is they might be, I don't know whether they are envious or whether I am doing wrong. So I want to know how to handle situations when we face like this. How do we pacify the other person so that we don't offend? I don't want to offend anyone. And to know whether I am wrong or what is it, how to see this situation.
First of all, my suggestion to all of you, please write it that I don't want to be a achiever in bhakti. I want to be receiver. Achiever will keep us little envy, not possible. But bhakti is actually we are receiver. Receiver means is not depend on me alone. It is depend on the mercy of those Vaishnavas. Who knows, Krishna could come in a form of that another Mataji who is going to test you. Not knowing that Krishna actually came in that Mataji form. Now you are not liking about her. And then if somebody say, you don't like Krishna? What are you talking about? Of course I love Krishna. Well, Krishna took that form of the Mataji. He came. What? Now you'll feel really horrible. So Krishna can come and test. He does. He does that. Even in Vrindavan, eternally he does that. In Dwarka, he does that eternally. In Vrindavan, he takes a birth as a Brahmana's son. And he said, Baba, why you are, he's talking to his father, why you are so much crying? He said, because I'm reading about the beauty of God. But Nanda Maharaj's son just passed by. But his beauty supersedes the God's beauty. It's disturbing me. I know he's not God, but his beauty, why God's beauty is not as beautiful as his? I'm feeling guilty. I don't know what to say. So I'm crying. So I said, Baba, can you explain me how you see Nanda Maharaj's son more beautiful? He said, you will not understand. When you grow up, I'll tell you. He said, no, you have to teach me now. But that is actually Krishna. He wants to taste also his own beauty. He comes take birth in Vrindavan in a Brahmana's son. In Vrindavan, Krishna himself takes millions of birth just to taste it. Just like you want to taste those beauty, Krishna also wants to taste. He takes many forms. Only few we come to know. So when we are not alert, Krishna can come in a form that we don't like that person. Krishna could come in that form. Now what are you going to do? That will put us in a big trouble. So if you become a receiver instead of achiever, then you always depend, okay, oh my Lord, my heart is not feeling well with that devotee. Please purify my heart. My Lord, please give me a chance to accept my service. Please purify my heart so I can please you. This humility will ignite more and more in the heart when you try to be a receiver. And that will eliminate obstacle that somebody I may not like or I like, doesn't matter. Because we depend on the mercy.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I'm saying I'm on the other side. So I am not offending anyone, but unknowingly the other person might be thinking, oh, she's too aggressive to know, to learn that way.
If I am causing somebody disturbance in spiritual path, I am the cause.
But I'm doing
correction has to be inside me.
But I'm like, now I'm asking you a question that is not to offend anyone, but to know, so that I gain this knowledge to be more spiritually advanced, to know Krishna more. So I'm not doing to offend anyone. But if someone is offended, I'm saying this is not the true fact. This is just an example I'm saying. So then,
well, if you don't have an intention to actually hurt anyone or make anybody envious or jealous, then it's okay. Krishna will forgive that even if something happened. But if your heart has a intention to hurt someone, Krishna will not forget. But as you're saying that your heart doesn't have that enviousness, then Krishna will forgive. Even if they feel envy, don't worry about it. We are not here to correct others. We are here to correct our own heart. So then Krishna will always guard us and protect us. How the world will see us is not our really business. We must continue on our service. How the other will see, because the object does not reveal what the object is. Everybody perceives the object according to their own theory of calculation. That's why this world is like this. And that's not our business to worry about it.
yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, today we had a lot of question and answer, but no reflection, just one reflection or two reflections so we can close it.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Apurva Shakti Devi Dasi. Are you taking anything with you? Are you taking anything with you from today's lesson, Mother? Mother, can you reveal?
Yes, indeed, we've had a long discussion on enviousness and how, especially, I like one thing that you say repeatedly, not to judge others because it creates a blockage in our heart, and also to be in receivership mode, to always be dependent and feel dependent on the mercy of the devotees, of gurus, of sadhus, and the Shastra. And that to me is really very, very important. Because I think the more we advance, we can understand that we ourselves are unable to do anything. And being dependent internally is so integral to feeling a connection with the parampara, with the process. And I thank you, Prabhu, for your very insightful lectures and your wonderful, wonderful points. There are just too many of them to repeat, but I just beg that you please, by your association, that we can advance and internalize all of the wonderful things that you mentioned to us.
Thank you, Mata. Please pray for me and bless me so I can progress also.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for so delightful lectures. Thank you.
Prabhuji, you also said about faithfulness. We have to be faithful. We have to have faith in Krishna. That is the first step to of devotional service. We have to have strong faith, and you also have given some checkpoints for us every day to see where our faith stands.
Yes, that's a big discussion. And it's nice. Those questions you ask yourself and you answer. And if you don't find answer, then we can discuss next. But I'm sure you'll find the answer, because these are, we should always remember when we think of contamination, we should ask a simple question: what is contaminating and who is getting contaminated? You have to ask this question. If you say, well, these are the anarthas contaminating, so who is contaminated? Is that the soul getting contaminated, or is nature getting contaminated, or is faith in spiritual path getting contaminated? You have to be able to answer only one out of three. What is contaminating first, and who is getting contaminated? Whether it's the envy or whatever it is, who is contaminated? Is the soul getting envy, or is his nature that he developed for life after life is getting envy, or is it the faith that he has when he came to Krishna consciousness is mixed, getting envious? Who? I will not say the answer unless you think. Otherwise, if I say the answer, you will not think.
By our nature, which we are carrying from so many millions of birth, by that nature only our faith is getting contaminated. Our soul is not getting contaminated. Soul is pure by nature. That's what I understand.
That's very good answer. The soul is not contaminated. Other answer is mixed. You have to clarify.
Because of millions of birth, our contamination is already there in our subtle body, which is actually by the material modes of material nature that is actually getting our consciousness.
Good thinking. So faith is not contaminated. The soul is not contaminated. It is the nature that we are holding it. And you have to let go. Nobody else can remove it. It's very true what you got. Soul is eternally is not envy to God or anybody. It's our conditioning nature is contaminated. Good answer. Very good. From the Prabhu's side, any reflection one, and then we close. Any Prabhus?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Brihatnath Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Today's discussion was mostly centered on the envy. And one line I noted, I like very much. In the war of ego, the winner is the loser, you said. I just wanted to share, a part of some lecture. The speaker told us to reflect on verse 10.41. Krishna says, know that all opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from but a spark of me, a spark of my splendor. And if we connect the qualities of another person, that is bringing jealousy in us or envy in us, and we think that it is just only a spark of Krishna, and we are just indirectly attracted to him. Can we not attract ourselves to Krishna by constantly remembering? And I think I was successful to some extent in this case.
Good thinking, Prabhu. That's very nice. In the war of ego, the winner is the biggest loser. So I'm glad you remember that. Yes, actually, until we get little taste to Krishna, these things will bother us.
Yes.
So please try to develop some taste. Taste. Taste is the test, whether you're progressing or not.
Yes.
So we'll end here. Thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances and please pray for me also so I can advance also and give your blessings too. Panchakalpataruvasya Kripa Sindhuvaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Anantagari Vaishnavbinda ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Samveda Vaishnavbinda ki